The American dream no longer exists, especially when there are significant disparities between the US and other countries.
A lot of people my age are choosing not to have children just because of the state of both of these things over here. I explained that even if you can afford to feed a child, the pregnancy alone can cost tens of thousands of dollars, and if you can't afford to pay that, then the state can just take your baby away.
I just went to the grocery store, bought 10 items, and it was $80 freaking already. I literally have $10 left on my account.
What if the old American dream was a lie?
When I was their age, I was making less than $10 an hour, and I can afford to live on my own. Now you have to be making six-figure salary to get a decent, tiny little place to live.
Hello, what's up, folks? A very good morning, good afternoon, good evening from wherever you're watching us from. This is Awakened Africa, and I'm your host, Bemu. So, on today's video, I want us to discuss about something that has been really disturbing my mind, and I've been asking myself, is the American dream no more? Is the American dream no more? And the American dream is increasingly viewed as unattainable due to rising living costs, stagnant wages, and economic inequality. Many young people are opting out of traditional milestones like home ownership and parenthood, questioning whether the dream was ever real or if it has simply evolved. Or was it just an illusion about the American dream? The struggle for financial stability continues to deepen for so many people. So I came across certain videos on TikTok, and I want you guys to watch these videos. Then I'll come back with my commentary. We'll discuss, we'll brainstorm together. But of course, if you're new to this channel, kindly consider subscribing, and most definitely, if you're a returning subscriber, consider liking, commenting, and sharing this content. Let us watch the videos.
What if the old American dream was a lie? What if us not being able to afford to buy homes is here to serve us? So that way we're not locked in and trapped like our parents were. It was buy this house, get this job. For some of them, they have been miserable since they were 30. And now they're 60, still doing the same miserable thing.
I'm really stressed today. I just went to the grocery store, bought 10 items, and it was $80 freaking already. I literally have $10 left on my account. So a little backstory. I got laid off from my job a month ago. And I've been applying for jobs months before I got laid off. Sent out hundreds of resumes already. Applied to hundreds of jobs on the internet, remote and on-site. Tailored my resume to every position that I applied using ChatGPT. Went to only a few interviews. And still nothing. Like, what the f*** is going on with America right now? Like, it's so freaking hard to live here. Like, I'm gonna stay positive. I'm gonna keep applying for jobs. I'm gonna keep showing up. But man, my bills are not going to wait.
I am so tired of feeling helpless as a parent. Yes, my kids are grown adults. My oldest is 28, my youngest is 25. And I thought by teaching them what I learned, which is you work hard, you get a good job, you're going to get the things in life that you need, right? Worked for me. Why wouldn't it work for them? Because it doesn't. Because the world has fucking changed, all right? And now I feel like I see them struggling. And before my generation comes at me, yes, I understand struggling is a part of life. We all struggled. But there's a difference between struggling and drowning, all right? So we struggled and it was tough. But you know what? We made it. We knew there was a light at the end of the tunnel with our struggle. It seems like kids today, no matter how much they struggle, they just get further and further down the water into the drowning point, all right? When I was their age, I was making less than $10 an hour, and I could afford to live on my own. Now you have to be making six-figure salary to get a decent, tiny little place to live. So what the fuck is going on, and how do we help them as parents? I told my son, all you have to do is work hard, go to college, or join the military like I did. He went to college, got his degree, got a full-time job. He moved back in with me right when he graduated from college because he said, hey, Mom, as soon as I get a job, which was within 2 weeks of him getting out of college, Maybe take me 2 months and I'll save up enough money for me to move out. Okay, cool. It's been 10 months. He has saved almost every dime and still can't afford to live. Why are one-bedroom studio apartments almost $2,000 a month? Why? Like, I just don't get it. So I don't even think that there's even classes anymore. There used to be, upper class, middle class, lower class. It's literally turning into the ultra wealthy and then everybody else is just poor. Like, that's what is happening. And then I told him, hey, when you turn 25, at least your car insurance will go down. Hell no, he turned 25 and his car insurance went up $150. I tell him, if you need health insurance, get a good job. He has health insurance. He has had a medical emergency this week. Had to go to the emergency room twice. He had to go to the emergency room because he couldn't get anybody to see him with the health insurance that he had. Right? So he had to go to an emergency room. Now he's out money for that too. It seems like you can never get ahead. And then my daughter, I told her all you have to do because she wanted to buy her own house. My daughter worked 6 days a week, 12 hours a day to save up enough for this down payment. Finally got this house. She's paying double what I'm paying for my mortgage, but her loan was the same amount. And then her mortgage company, after she's already moved in, said, oh, by the way, we forgot to tell you that you need this type of coverage, which we forgot at the beginning. That's an extra $200 you've been paying a month. And all they see when they come home is they watch social media, kids their age on lavish vacations with all this money and nothing to do, all these social media influencers, because we value those types of things over hard workers. We will pay them $10,000, but you work 40 hours a week, you can't afford it.
Just had a really long conversation with someone that lives in rural China, and oh my God, they had a lot of questions about the way things work for poor people in the United States. And so the conversation started asking about land and whether or not we were allotted a specific amount of land for farming when we're born. I had to explain that no, you either had to be independently wealthy to acquire land for farming, or if you were lucky, your parents were wealthy and you would inherit their land when they died. Apparently over there, they just lend you land for you to grow food. Then the conversation turned over to healthcare and education, and I explained that a lot of people my age are choosing not to have children just because of the state of both of these things over here. I explained that even if you can afford to feed a child, the pregnancy alone can cost tens of thousands of dollars, and if you can't afford to pay that, then the state can just take your baby away. She asked me where the babies went when they get taken away, and I had to explain the privatized adoption industry to her. No, this isn't me coming on here saying Chinese government good, Chinese government unproblematic. That's not what I'm saying. But horrified does not even begin to cover the feeling that was expressed to me from her. Y'all, the corn over here is 5 times more expensive than over there. We grew the corn. I live less than 30 miles from the fields where 1/3 of America's vegetables and 3/4 of America's fruits are produced, and I cannot afford to eat them. Y'all.
The American dream no longer exists, especially when there are significant disparities between the U.S. and other countries. Mickey D's in the U.S. employee makes $9 an hour with no benefits. The Big Mac costs $5.81. The same Mickey D's employee in Denmark makes $22 an hour, 6 weeks vacation, 1 year paid maternity leave. 1 year. Where do you get that anywhere in the U.S.? That's unheard of. Maybe 3 months max. Life insurance, a pension plan, and the Big Mac only cost $4.82. The math ain't math and it ain't adding up. Feel like with this whole American dream, we've been hoodwinked. We have been bamboozled. We have been scammed into believing that it exists and it does not. Okay? The people, all you people from other countries who want to come here, don't do it. The dream is false. Okay? There's so many better places you can go to besides here. All right? You don't want to come here. We're living in an episode of Scandal over here. Our politics are in the gutter. Okay? We had an orange for a president. I mean, come on. Come on. Don't do it. I'm trying to save you some time and some effort and some heartache.
One thing that I did not expect to happen in January 2025 is seeing all of these Americans on TikTok after being on Red Note or Red Books or whatever it's called, coming to the realization that America isn't everything that they've been led to believe, and realizing that we, in the rest of the world, we don't necessarily perceive them how they think that we do. And they love saying things like America is the leader on the world stage and it's the best country in the world and blah, 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 and whatever. And it's like so many of them think that everybody else thinks that, and they're just coming to the realization that that really isn't the case, like at all, like at all, and realizing that most other developed countries like have some form of universal healthcare or whatever it is. There's just a lot of videos on my timeline of Americans being like, what we've been told isn't entirely accurate, is it? What we've been led to believe that is happening in other countries isn't entirely accurate, is it? And it's like, it's not funny, yeah, it's not funny, but it was also a little bit funny, innit? Because what did you guys think was happening? What did you think we thought? What did you think everybody else thought about you? You really thought everyone was over here like, yeah, we love America. America's the best. Bro, it's not the 90s, bro. It's not the 90s. We know. But yeah, no, I'm not laughing at you. I'm not. But it's refreshing. It is somewhat refreshing. I'm not gonna lie. I don't know, man. Like a lot of you, respectfully, have been quite deluded into believing that everyone like looks at America like, oh, we don't. And everywhere else ain't the slums. Like it's not like America's like this shining beacon and everywhere else is the slums. It's really not the case. Anyway, the circus continues. Hopefully the Great Awakening continues. And hopefully we are on the path towards, I don't know actually what we're on the path towards. There's too many mad things going on. But hopefully there's something beautiful on the horizon.
We left the United States and moved to Senegal, West Africa, a year and a half ago now, almost 2 years. And it's been the best decision living abroad. So the kids are on Christmas break. So we are at an Airbnb in an hour and a half outside the city. And it is beautiful. I'm about to give y'all the view. My husband is splashing like a whale in the water. But see. So we came out here with all 5 kids, hubby, my mom, the kids' grandma, our nanny, our cook, our good friend, and her son. But I say all that to say, sometimes the American dream is making your money in America, having your business, maybe working remotely, having your passive income stream, some real estate, some investments, and living in another country or on another continent. Don't limit yourself to feeling like your best life is only where you've grown up. Sometimes your best life is on the other side of the world. Sometimes your best life is a 10-hour flight away, okay? And you can always go back to the US, right? I go back and forth, but this quality of life, the experiences that I can have and that I can give my kids, it's not in America. At least not right now. At least not while the naked mole rat is in office. Yeah. Come on out here, guys. Come on.
This textbook analyzes the American dream from a German perspective. I wanted to read you a particularly powerful paragraph. One thing that it continually asks students to do is to analyze the persistence of the myth of the American dream, especially in light of the fact that, quote, that for many Americans there is no more chance of ever making it. The examples of eminent Americans from the past and the recent present help to explain the major function of the American dream. It is a national myth which connects the present to the past and which also contains a promise for the future. The myth is that it is within the scope of every individual to uplift himself or herself, to move up the social and economic ladder and partake in the endless opportunities. It's in quotes. The function of the American dream may then be summarized as follows. It establishes role models for the ordinary man or woman and thus upholds current social beliefs and structures. In other words, pretending like the American dream exists functions to keep things the way that they are.
In the last few years, I have watched America completely shatter my idea of what being American actually means. I'm the child of Chinese immigrants. My parents moved to America before coming to Canada and having me, and the idea of America entrenched in our brains was this idea of truly wealth and freedom and endless opportunity. Whatever you could dream, you could do, you could get, you could buy. But now clearly that is not the case, and the vast majority of Americans are really struggling. What's the point of being the wealthiest nation in the world when the average citizen is living paycheck to paycheck and basic necessities are out of reach? Where having a family feels like a luxury. It's just such a mind fuck. Like, as a Canadian, you always grow up kind of being in the shadow of America. It's like having a neighbor who lives in a giant mansion, like the nicest mansion in the entire town. And everybody tells you about how amazing that house is and how beautiful it is on the inside. And everybody living inside is really happy and really rich. But then you learn that actually the people living inside that beautiful house are all really struggling and oppressed, and all the money that they work hard to earn goes to the owner of the house, and everyone else living in it are basically indentured servants. And I'm over here in Canada across the street. Like, my house isn't as pretty and it's not as famous as your house, but the whole image, the whole American dream as an outsider, as a Chinese Canadian, is just like shattered. It's actually really heartbreaking. Of course, Canada has its problems. Don't even get me started on Polyev. Oh my god, he's Trump Jr. incoming. Oh god. Just growing up with both the Canadian and Chinese sides of me, really venerating and romanticizing this idea of the American dream, it turns out American exceptionalism actually is a myth. We're all struggling around the world. In the club, we all working class.
Hello good people, welcome back to the channel. This is Awakened Africa. Now, the American dream is perceived as increasingly unattainable due to rising costs of living, rising living costs and stagnant wages. So many young people are frustrated by this situation. And here's why the American dream is fading off or is fading away. The cost of living has skyrocketed. And this makes it difficult for individuals to afford basic necessities such as grocery and housing. This financial strain is affecting quality of life significantly. I have seen a couple of videos of people who are saying that they relocated from the United States into, let's say, Romania, to countries like China, Singapore. They went to Korea, they went to Thailand, and they're saying life there is relatively cheaper compared to the US. There is a shift towards alternative lifestyle definitions of success, such as minimalism, as people reassess what fulfillment means in the context of today's economic challenges. Number two, job security is diminishing. With many facing layoffs and struggling to find employment despite sending numerous applications, this instability leads to the feeling of hopelessness regarding the American dream. There are no jobs. Like, all over the world, it is so hard to find employment, but in America, job security is really diminishing. People are facing layoffs, right? Number three, financial stability. There is a struggle for financial stability, and it has intensified for younger generations, making it once attainable goals like homeownership increasingly out of reach. Like, if you compare right now in 2025 and 1985, it was so easy to own a home in 1985 compared to today, 2025, 40 years ago, right? Economic disparities have avoided leaving many people feeling hopeless despite efforts to succeed. People are working so hard, 9 to 5 jobs. People are working 2, 3 jobs, but they cannot satisfy their needs. The cost of living has surged dramatically, making it difficult for young adults to afford basic necessities like housing. This trend has created a sense of urgency for change. That's something that I had talked about. Now, of course, young adults today in the United States of America often face mounting financial burdens despite obtaining higher education degrees. They perceive path to success through hard work no longer guarantees stability. Even if you work hard, it's a matter of working smart by there right now. It's not about working hard. And the societal shift towards value, wealth, and social media success can overshadow the achievements of those working hard. This cultural perception complicates the financial landscape for the younger generation. And I can say this, the American dream is perceived as a myth due to growing economic disparities and unrealistic expectation about life in the US. For instance, someone in Africa will tell you that if I go to America right now, I might be rich. But that's not true. Those living in America, the natives, are really struggling and are trying everything on social media about this. Comparative analysis of wages and benefits reveals stark contrast between American workers and those in the other countries such as Denmark, which offer significantly better compensation benefits. There are some people who you find that they relocated from US to Denmark or to Romania or to other countries like China, Singapore, Japan, and these people telling me that life in those countries is much simpler compared to the United States of America. A growing number of Americans are realizing that the portrayal of the US as the best country is often exaggerated, leading to the illusional and the evaluation of their beliefs. It is exaggerated, right? Living abroad can offer the different perspective on life and opportunities, allowing the individual to pursue happiness outside traditional American norms. Many find greater fulfillment in unexpected places. So these videos that we've watched, there is questions about the current relevance of the American dream, right? Inviting viewers to consider if it's still attainable or merely an illusion, right? This dialogue encourages audience engagement on critical society issues. So, is American dream still there, or is it just an illusion? This is Awakened Africa. If you are new to this channel, kindly consider subscribing. Take us to 100 subscribers, kindly. If you're a returning subscriber, like, because that's how the YouTube algorithm is going to be favorable to us. This video is going to be suggested to many people. Leave a comment. Don't forget to share. And of course, turn on the notifications so that if I drop any video, you'll be the first one to get notified. I hope to see you in my next video. This is Awakened Africa, and I'm your host, Ben. Peace out.